For my independent reading project, I read It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini, which I found personally very entertaining because it's anything but a funny story. The story is about a boy named Craig. This book is about him and his life in the first year of a very competitive high school. Craig is what people like to call a tryhard, one of the many things Craig and I have in common, and he and I run by a very simple equation. School equals life. Now let's replace those with single letters. How about x equals y, a parent function of any straight line? Very simple. The higher the x, better at school you do, the higher at y, better at life you do, which is success, money, etc. So with that equation running your life, you of course want a higher x to get a higher y. Now, there are equations like y equals 2x, where you can do less at school and do better in life, but that is, for example, extracurricular classes or sports, and being like a born genius. There are also equations like y equals 1/2 x, where you do well in school but not in life, but that can happen only if you're really unlucky or you do stuff to ruin your life, like drugs or throw it all away. Now, just a quick summary. Craig sees the school and goes, x equals y, school equals life, good school equals good life, so he must get in. So to get into the school you had to take a test, and Craig was determined to ace it, so he studies all the time and basically, sadly, loses all his friends. So within this studying craze, he actually makes one friend named Aaron. They become best friends, and Aaron's really chill. He wasn't studying, but he was also going to take the test. His parents are also messed up. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, and he smokes pot, also. So Aaron's an influence on Craig. Good or bad, we'll come back to that later. Yay! Craig gets into school, and since x equals y, it seems that it's going to be pretty good. Time to introduce a new equation, the emotional equation. I know, deep. This is basically impossible to graph because it could be x equals y at some times, and then y equals 5x at other times when it's really great, and then like y equals 3 when it's all like flattened out and normal, and something really bad happens, and it's like y equals negative 10, it just goes like straight down. So you can graph with like many different sections of lines, and like, wait for it, the roller coaster of emotions, what every English teacher wants to hear. Best line there is. Now, Craig is in the good school, executive pre-professional, classy, but it isn't anything he expects. Everyone else seems smarter than him. Aaron got in without even studying, and easily finishes all his work, and Craig is falling behind. This is when the emotional graph for Craig starts to go down. He starts to make bad decisions, like hanging out with Aaron too much. He already smokes pot, pretty bad. He now has things he calls tentacles, which are like homework in school, that wrap around him and suffocate him and like drag him down. And then he has things called anchors, which hold him in place and keep him steady, which is like biking, for example. It's something he really likes to do. Skip forward a bit in time, and he's now developed serious depression. He can't eat food without throwing it up or feel sick. He has lots of stress. And on top of that, Aaron is dating a girl in school named Nia. He falls in love with her, but she's dating his best friend. Problem, yes. So like he starts taking meds for depression after he tells his parents. He's starting to feel better, and he realizes he isn't alone because Nia also takes meds. Surprise. No, he's still bogged down by school. It's not like everything has gotten better. He just feels better, and he still has all this work to do. Maybe it's all the pot that's like interrupting his thinking. Anyway, so he decides to stop taking his meds. Terrible idea. That's just a terrible idea. So after being off his meds, he starts to go downhill again, and obviously the graph goes down. It goes so down that he actually considers suicide, jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge. This is based in New York City. So to sum it up, he doesn't do it. He turns himself into the hospital, and the rest of the book, his time there, discovering himself very deep. Now, let's talk about the characters. We have the main character, Craig. Obviously, he's dealing with depression. He studies hard. He's dedicated his young years to study, so he doesn't like have much of a childhood, though this is like 8th grade or so, but cutting grid out of your childhood, but it's okay. He wants to get into top-notch high schools, so obviously he can do better at life. He has lots of self-induced pressure he gives to himself because he needs good grades, and good grades get into a college Ivy League school or a very good college, let's get a good job, let's get success at life. Something I also agree with. And in the book, it's a quote, failing at school is failing at life. I also agree with that, though it's probably not the best philosophy. He's actually physically turning ill because all the stress, he can't eat or sleep well, and he's stressed over homework like he can't do it, and spirals out of control and is terrified of failure. It's pretty messed up. Now, Noelle, girl he meets in the hospital, so she's also suffering by depression and stress. That's why she's in there, but she, instead of Craig turned himself in before he actually jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, she cut up her face with scissors, trying to do suicide and bleed out, but someone found her and called the ambulance and brought her to this hospital. She doesn't want to get plastic surgery to fix up her face. She wants to keep the scars as like a reminder to herself how low she got and like why it's really not worth it. That starts getting interesting, getting it on, Craig, of course, love interest right there. Opens up to Craig. She's usually a very shy girl, and this is really the only person she's really opened up to, and she shares her anxiety over school and the pressure because they're basically in there for the same reason. So Nia, let's not use that, I'm not going to use the word, but Nia is Aaron's girlfriend, Craig's really first crush, tells Craig that she has her problems and she's on meds as well, and that he doesn't think Aaron is, but she also says Aaron is, and like Craig thinks that Nia is really the girl for him, but in the end, not really. Aaron, so this is Craig's best friend. He's never really had to study, never had pressure from school. He's always been really the chill stoner dude. He's still messed up. Of course he does pot in his room all the time. Both his parents are on serious meds because of depression or something else. For Craig's anchors, you can't really have, in the book, you can't really have human anchors because they're too unreliable. But he thinks like Aaron is more of an anchor, but I personally think that Craig is using Aaron as more of an excuse than an anchor. Craig's jealous because he gets the girl, he gets the grades, and he just seems so chill all the time, and Craig's like, I don't get the girl, I don't get the grades, and I'm flipping out over here. And like expects Craig to be the same, and Craig just can't be all the time, and he's kinda a jerk. Family, mom, dad, sister. Sisters in 4th grade. And like they're very supporting, very loving, but sometimes the dad takes his depression a little bit too lightly, not like seriously. And his sister, who's basically like a genius, very like he thinks much smarter than him, still idolizes Craig and like loves Craig and thinks Craig's the best. So it's a very strong support group, which is always good when a child is depressed. And he has his doctors, which, the regular adjectives, helpful and insightful and all that fun stuff. But like really makes Craig think, and they're not going to help, well they do help Craig, but they're not going to have him give him the answers. They're going to make Craig find the answers for himself, and they'll just help him push that in some positive direction. Now, for setting, Manhattan, Brooklyn, apartment, which is in Brooklyn, and the mental hospital. So basically the Big Apple. Chill stuff. Let's get all English on this. So we've got teen pressure, which is like school, college, job, drugs, all that fun stuff. Depression, family, competition, and like under depression you have teen suicide, all that good stuff. So under depression you have like sadness, stress, competition, anxiety, performance, medications, suicide, control, or lack thereof, quiet, solitude, unhealthy eating, vomiting, sleeplessness, or eating like all the sugary stuff, erratic highs, lows, separation from another, lacking in caring, so personal appearance, just giving up, poor self-image, low self-esteem. This is like, depression is really just like, and suicide when you just hopelessness, despair, dread, and like not really wanting to deal with the world anymore because you can't. And that's what makes depression so hard, is that you really can't, when you have depression, you're just like almost physically impossible to deal with the world by yourself. Teen pressures, so all the fun stuff that people get to experience, especially in high school and stuff like that. So we have being the best, being the brightest, because usually the kids were the brightest in their public schools, and then they try out for this top-notch private school to get in, and then it's like everyone was the top of their class and the other one, so now they're all even and there's no step above anyone else. So getting into the best schools, the best high school, the best college, so you get like good degrees, like, and so you look good, and then you can get better jobs, which means more money and all that fun stuff that we should be worrying about when we're 14 and 15. So grades and competition with other students, that's just a given, because these kids really want to get good grades, as do I, and competition is definitely something, even though you really don't want it, it's definitely present. And then, like, social economic status, though it shouldn't really be a problem, it's always there, because, like, the kid who comes in with ratty clothes every day, they'll judge him or her a little bit more than other people. Then extracurriculars, so, all the colleges love you to do 20 sports, all the key clubs and cancer clubs and donation clubs, which are all good, but, you want to do every single one. Yeah, not really. And like, Craig does nothing, so he feels like he's even worse, because everyone else is doing, like, sport and all these charity clubs, and he goes home, bikes. So the importance of family, like support, close, caring, just listing a bunch of adjectives here, comforting, loving, stable, important, just like what a family needs to be, a support group. But his family, it's just like, they're good for him, they're there, but sometimes they take it a little bit too lightly, and a family can never really understand depression unless you've had depression or you have depression. Because it's a lot different than saying, oh, I'm so depressed after I got like an F on this test. I'm going to say it now, I have never gotten an F on a test. That's probably going to change, but hopefully not. As in competition with other kids for better grades, another guy for the girl. Oh, it's just feeling like you're in competition with someone else. You have to judge yourself to someone else. You have to be better than someone else, which is always a problem with teen youth. Now, we can go to conflicts within the book. So basically, the major one is depression. That's kind of the key here. Under depression, you have like stress, which is more this book, having to deal with school, the academic causes of depression. And then you have like yourself situations where social type of depression, like maybe people bullying you for certain reasons. So it's depression is it is serious. This is serious stuff. This conflict, it's a more of an internal thing during his time in the hospital. He gets to realize what he actually enjoys doing, not like, it doesn't really matter if it's successful or not. You really want to do what you enjoy doing, and if you enjoy doing it, you'll be good at it and you'll become successful at it. So you could be doing something super smart and be a failure at it because you don't enjoy doing it, so you won't put everything you have into it. So by the end, he's able to distinguish stuff like that and work it out and start to realize things and how to understand depression, because during depression you can't really understand things, and starting to be able to help yourself a little bit more and get through it, which is very big and important. So just wrapping up comments, so depression and suicide are very serious. Obviously they can kill you, that's not a joke, but you can make yourself physically ill, mentally ill, emotionally just messed up. It's a problem, and like what people don't understand about depression is that when you have depression, you can't help yourself. It's like one of the things where people don't understand. Like, you think, oh, they're just being lazy, or they're procrastinating too much. Yes, that's true. As I say, speaking all this from experience, yes, I do procrastinate too much. But also, you just feel like you actually just can't do the work. You can't focus. You can't do what you used to be able to do, just like sit down and do work. You just wander off. You start thinking of how like this isn't going to go where, I'm still going to fail at life, and then nothing will happen no matter what I do now, won't affect me in the future. So it's a serious issue, should never be taken lightly. If you feel like you have depression, this isn't going to be turned into some PSA type thing where I'm like, go talk to an adult and stuff like that. Though you absolutely should, but I also highly suggest really close friends. All the adults are like, go talk to an adult, because they are the ones that can help you. But if you can talk to a friend, that's even as good because they're your age and they can understand almost better than even your parents can because they were growing up at a different time where probably not having as competitive schools as we do now. So, thank you very much.